Got a great question this week about data sufficiency on the GMAT Focus Edition. Someone noticed, hey, there's no longer data sufficiency in the quant section versus the old GMAT. And in the data insights section, there's not very many data sufficiency questions compared to what I used to see on GMAT Classic. The question was, should I prepare for data sufficiency less as a result? Which was another way of asking, should I do fewer data sufficiency questions in my practice? Now, the short answer is no. It's just as important as it used to be because data sufficiency is now 40 to 50% of your data insights section, which is super important because data insights does affect your overall score, which schools do care about. But the deeper answer is really to look at your existing data set and ask yourself, is data sufficiency a weakness compared to the other things I'm struggling with topic by topic? If it's not, and you're super weak in algebra and exponents, but doing pretty well in data sufficiency, then that is a good reason to do fewer data sufficiency practice questions and compensate by doing more algebra and exponents, for example. But if you're looking at your overall score profile and you're analyzing your practice exams and data sufficiency is a significant weakness, then you should absolutely do just as many or more data sufficiency questions than you would have if you were studying for the old exam. This brings me to a larger point that I've seen some people pondering out on the internet as we transition to the new version of the test, which is, well, if there's fewer questions, does that mean I need to work less hard or prepare less thoroughly for every single topic? What's interesting about that question is actually the opposite is true. You can cut out sentence correction and geometry now because those aren't tested on the new GMAT Focus Edition. But because there's fewer questions, now every single question has a larger impact on your overall score during the test. So that means while you will be tested on a smaller subset of what you study, when you are tested on what you've studied, it's even more important to be well prepared for a wide variety of questions, because if you get a test where there are a few things similar to what you've studied but not exactly the same, you want to make sure you're deeply prepared for those so that you can improvise in the moment. The flip side of that would be if you cut out too many things from your study and then you wind up seeing 2 or 3 questions on those topics during the exam, that's actually going to affect you a lot more negatively than it would on the classic GMAT, because on the classic GMAT you had more room for error because there were just more opportunities to demonstrate your capabilities in a 31 question quant section versus now 21 questions. That also applies to the verbal and the data insights sections, which are also shorter. So while it's tempting to think a shorter exam makes the prep process easier, and for some folks it will, like for example, if you're not particularly good at sentence correction, that's a huge benefit to you. Overall, it actually doesn't change the study process very much in terms of how rigorous you need to be to hit your goal score. While we're on this topic, I'll share one of my favorite quotes, which is, "Don't wish for a lighter load, make your shoulders stronger." It's a great attitude to have. Obviously, it has its limits in a wide variety of situations, but when it comes to the GMAT, instead of thinking, can I get away with less preparation because of this shorter version of the test, start asking yourself the question, how do I optimize my study and maximize my performance on this current version of the exam, which is just as competitive as the old one? I know that might not be the best news, but it's really, really important to be honest with ourselves and each other when we're dealing with something that's as potentially difficult and potentially significant as this exam. In light of that, if you have questions about your specific situation, you're feeling stuck, or you're not sure how to move forward, shoot us a DM or comment below, and we'll be happy to help.